Today is Wednesday, July 31st. We're talking about the possible assassination of two militant leaders in the Middle East as concerns grow over a widening war. Also, new updates from both presidential campaigns as they ramp up appearances in battleground states. Plus, another heat wave is starting to sweep the country. Team USA made more history at the Paris Olympics. And old office buildings are getting new life in what could solve a growing problem. Those stories and much more news to know in today's episode. And thanks to our sponsor, Guardian Bikes, a safer and easier bike for kids. Shop Guardian Bikes this summer and save up to 25% off bikes, no code needed. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Fears are growing about a wider war in the Middle East as Israel steps up attacks on two fronts. First, the Israeli military says it carried out an airstrike in a suburb of Beirut, Lebanon, and it apparently killed Hezbollah's most senior commander. Israel says it was in retaliation for a cross-border attack over the weekend that killed a dozen children and teenagers, though the U.S. also accuses the same commander of orchestrating the 1983 bombing in Beirut that killed hundreds of American service members. Still, the White House says it's working on a diplomatic solution. Separately, a Hamas leader was apparently killed early this morning in Iran. At least that's according to Iran and Hamas. It will likely be seen as a big victory for Israel, which has been promising to eliminate Hamas's leadership ever since its attack on October 7th. Though this Hamas leader was key to ongoing ceasefire talks, relaying messages to and from the militant group's leaders in Gaza. And his death could have the potential to derail talks for good. So far, no comment from the U.S. or Israel. Weeks after the assassination attempt on former President Trump, and the Secret Service now says it's making changes to how it protects officials. The acting head of the Secret Service explained as senators grilled him yesterday. He told them he was ashamed his agency did not secure the rooftop where a gunman opened fire, killing one person and injuring three others, including the former president. He also said, going forward, Secret Service counter-snipers will join local partners on roofs and other locations, will use more drones, and improve radio communications. You'll remember the last Secret Service director resigned last week, but senators say more people should still be fired. The FBI's deputy director was also grilled at the Senate hearing. He told them investigators still don't have a sense of the gunman's motive, but that they found a set of online posts with some extremist views that may have been made by the shooter years ago, though they're still working to verify that he was actually behind the posts. Of course, multiple investigations are still underway. The federal government wrapped up its 3-year investigation into boarding schools that, for more than a century, pulled Native American children from their homes and communities. The U.S. Interior Department found nearly 1,000 Native American children died while being forced to attend the schools, even more than previously thought. And it says the actual number is likely even greater. The boarding schools operated from 1819 to 1969 across 37 states, and there was documented abuse and mistreatment the entire time. But this is actually the first time the U.S. government is accounting for its role in creating the system, updating government records of the toll the schools took. The Interior Secretary says it's a system that isolated children from their families, denied them their identities, and stole from them the languages, cultures, and connections that are foundational to Native people. The report calculates the federal government spent the equivalent of $23 billion in today's dollars on that system. So it says the government should spend that much to rebuild families and communities now. It suggests a national memorial and other initiatives like Native education programs and returning the boarding school land to tribal ownership. Plus, it calls on the U.S. government to issue a formal apology. Most Americans are now in the path of another heat wave. Some of the highest temperatures are expected right in the middle of the country. In the central and southern plains today, things are expected to be 10 to 15 degrees above average for this time of year. By Friday, both the eastern and western U.S. could get record warmth, too. That will at least feel like triple-digit temps. The Weather Service says almost everyone needs to be careful, not just those who are most sensitive to heat dangers, that only the very high mountains and perhaps portions of the upper Midwest will escape these brutal temperatures. There could be at least a little bit of relief this weekend, but another intense and widespread heat wave could be coming next week, too. Much more news still ahead, like the latest from the campaign trail, a major meat recall, an update from the Olympics, and more. But first, a break for our sponsors. Are you taking a vacation this summer but dreading the cost? With Ibotta, you get cash back on all of your purchases. I figure I'm going to be grocery shopping and buying supplies for myself and my kiddo anyway, so I might as well earn cash back with each shopping trip. You can save on over 2,400 brands and shop at over 1,000 retailers, including your favorite grocery stores, Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Simply add offers in the Ibotta app, upload your receipt, and that's it. The money is yours. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much. With Ibotta, you earn cash back that you can withdraw to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. And right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code Newsworthy when you register. Go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code Newsworthy. That's IBOTTA, Ibotta, in the Google Play or App Store and use code Newsworthy. This episode is also brought to you by Honeylove. It's that time of year when you might be going to more special events, whether it's conferences, weddings, or fancy nights on vacations. And for me, I used to dread wearing shapewear under a dress because it would roll up or down, feel suffocating, and just be uncomfortable. Thankfully, I found Honeylove, and none of those issues are a problem anymore. Honeylove has revolutionized compression technology for both comfort and function. It stays put, it uses breathable fabric, has thoughtfully designed details, and so much more. Now I actually look forward to having a reason to grab for my Honeylove shapewear. It makes me feel that much more supported and confident in every outfit. So treat yourself to the best bras and shapewear on the market and save 20% off at honeylove.com/newsworthy. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off, honeylove.com/newsworthy. After your purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them, so please support our show and tell them we sent you. The summer vibes are just getting started, so shape your life with Honeylove. Now, back to the news. The top presidential candidates are as busy as ever on the campaign trail. Former President Donald Trump and his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, have several campaign events set up this week. And Vice President Kamala Harris says she and her running mate will be campaigning together in 7 battleground states next week. Though at this point, she still says she hasn't decided on who that running mate will be. For now, Harris is spending time on the campaign trail with other influential Democrats, including celebrities. Just yesterday, she filled the basketball arena at Georgia State University for a campaign rally that included rappers Megan Thee Stallion and Quavo. There, she embraced some of the same policies as the Biden administration, promising to take on price gouging, ban more hidden fees, cap what she called unfair rent increases, and more. She also spoke about efforts to boost border security and economic opportunity. And she challenged former President Trump to commit to debating her. In recent days, Trump has said he probably will debate, but that he can also make a case for not doing it. Meanwhile, former President Trump and his campaign are focusing on what they consider to be Harris's failure at the southern border. During campaign events, he's pointed out how the vice president was supposed to lead diplomatic outreach to tackle the root causes of migration over the last few years, but that the problem still has not gone away. Harris's response? That Trump had the opportunity to secure the border himself as president, and that even after he was a president, he influenced lawmakers to block a bipartisan bill for reform. Trump is expected to hold a rally at the same Georgia arena as Harris this weekend. He's also expected to fill it to capacity. The former Trump administration official who leads what's known as Project 2025 has stepped down. In case you're not familiar, Project 2025 is a roadmap meant for the next Republican administration. It was put together by a conservative think tank and has been endorsed by more than 100 right-leaning groups. It calls for many changes, like an overhaul of the federal government, including an expansion of presidential power and hiring more conservative personnel. It also proposes things like shrinking the education department, ending diversity programs, additional restrictions on abortion, and more. Former President Trump, though, says he had nothing to do with Project 2025, even though he does agree with some of the policies included. Trump's staff has slammed Project 2025 for misrepresenting itself as an actual policymaking arm of the campaign. And they say they would actually welcome its demise. Harris's campaign pushed back, saying Project 2025 was written by Trump's allies and is real even if Trump tries to hide it. Either way, the group behind Project 2025 says its work will continue, just without its director. Well, here's a warning to check any lunch meat you have in your fridge. Boar's Head recalled another 7 million pounds of deli meat this week because it's been linked to a listeria outbreak. Specifically, this new recall includes 71 products made between May 10th and July 29th, including liverwurst, ham, beef salami, bologna, and more. Some of the meat was sliced at delis, but it also includes some packaged meat and poultry products sold in stores all around the country. Already dozens of listeria cases have been reported, as well as at least 2 deaths. Now, anyone who has the recalled meat at home is being told to either throw it away or return to the store for a refund. We put a link with more information in today's episode notes. Amazon is now being held responsible for dangerous products sold on its platform. The Consumer Product Safety Commission found the e-commerce giant distributed hundreds of thousands of faulty products. Even though they were actually sold by third parties, the CPSC says Amazon is still responsible for recalling them. They include faulty carbon monoxide detectors, hair dryers without electrocution protection, and kids' sleepwear with a burn risk. Now Amazon will have to submit proposed plans to notify customers about the hazardous products and encourage them to return or destroy them. Amazon says it already stands behind every product sold in its store and that it continuously monitors the listings. But it also says it really only provides logistics services to merchants and is not a distributor like the CPSC says. So it plans to appeal the ruling in court. A city in California has become the first in the country to debut an all-electric vehicle police fleet. South Pasadena, on the edge of Los Angeles, is replacing its police cruisers with 20 new Teslas. City officials say it's an important change since police vehicles typically idle more than other cars, adding to emissions that can harm public health and worsen climate change. The city is spending nearly $2 million on the switch, but officials say the operational cost, that includes energy and maintenance costs, will be at least half of what it was with gas-powered vehicles. Now officials say they hope other cities will follow in their footsteps. Team USA is still racking up the medals at the Paris Olympic Games. Simone Biles led the U.S. women's gymnastics team to gold yesterday. And with that, Biles now holds the record for most Olympic medals by any American gymnast ever. The U.S. women's rugby sevens team also made history when they beat Australia to win bronze, their first ever Olympic medal. Oh, and American women and men picked up 4 medals in the pool. Another exciting feat, the U.S. men's soccer team advanced to the Olympic quarterfinals for the first time in 24 years. And today is another busy day. American athletes will be competing in rowing, diving, swimming, boxing, tennis, sailing, field hockey, beach volleyball, water polo, basketball, and more. So stay tuned. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. There's more evidence the pandemic has changed the way Americans work, for good. Office vacancy rates reached a record in the second quarter. Now more than 20% of offices are empty, the highest rate since at least 1979 when Moody's first started tracking. And the trend is not expected to end here, since there are long-term leases that will take a while to unwind. And if there's an economic downturn, things could get even worse. So what to do with all these empty office buildings? Well, a growing number of them are now becoming apartments. And in theory, that solves 2 problems, since a lot of places have home shortages right now too. Granted, it's not that easy. Unlike traditional office layouts, each apartment needs to have at least 1 bathroom and a kitchen, plus individual heating and cooling systems and operable windows. The projects often cost real estate developers more than they budget for. So some local governments like Los Angeles and New York City are now offering incentives to make it worth their while. Thank you so much for listening and for spreading the word about the newsworthy. We'll catch you up with more news to know tomorrow. And before we go, thanks again to our sponsor, Guardian Bikes. From the SureStop braking system to the Just for Kids sizing, it's our family's choice for a reason. And my 3-year-old is learning to ride his Guardian bike so quickly and loving the process. We have all been impressed. Guardian bikes can be ridden using the balance bike method and then transition into a pedal bike. Shop Guardian Bikes this summer and save up to 25% off bikes, no code needed. Plus, receive a free lock and pump with your first purchase after signing up for their newsletter. Terms and conditions apply. Thanks again for joining us and have a great day.